Hi there TikTok, my name is Brandon. I'm making this video in hopes to get some help from people. I endured an injury to my chest and abdomen in 2019, 2020-ish due to a chiropractor making a recommendation to do a stomach manipulation massage, which I did, and it collapsed and injured parts of my body. I broke my ribs, tore my abdomen, something in my gut collapsed, I have a compressed artery, I went into stage 3 heart failure, etc. I lost my ability to sleep laying down. My body goes into fight or flight because my blood pressure drops extremely low. I have to sleep sitting up. I've been sleeping sitting up for about 5 years now. I've been trying to save up for Mayo Clinic, as unfortunately the doctors locally and even out of state in some places do not have experience with the conditions that I have. It turns out that I have a condition called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. It's a connective tissue disorder. So when I did that massage, my connective tissue was very weak and brittle, and it injured me very severely. And to make things worse, I was given sleeping medication because I couldn't sleep sitting up, and the injury was making it impossible with the pain and the fight or flight response. So I went to a local ER for sleep medication after not sleeping for a very long time. Literally was like screaming because I was so sleep deprived. The ER gave me a medication called Ativan. It's a benzodiazepine, and within a couple weeks to months, I don't really remember, it's a little bit foggy because it's so long ago, around 2019, 2020, towards the end of 2019. So I started groaning uncontrollably and screaming and pacing back and forth and breaking my own property, punching holes in my own walls in my bedroom, etc. And it turns out I developed a brain injury from the sleeping medication called akathisia. And I've unfortunately not been able to sit still for very long for the past 5.5 years now, maybe 5 years. So with that being said, if you've made it through this far into the video, I'm looking for help. I'd like to go to Mayo Clinic. We found a surgeon. I traveled out of state to see a geneticist who specializes in connective tissue disorders. She has over or close to 200 medical publications on the condition that I have, and she agreed with me that I need to go to Mayo Clinic to get evaluated by a surgeon that specializes in the stomach, diaphragm, and abdominal conditions. Just coincidentally, he might be one of the right surgeons for me. I've been trying to make money on my own, but unfortunately, since I'm so disabled and I struggle with akathisia and sleep deprivation, I can't do it on my own. And with Social Security, I don't have enough to save. I can't save on it. I'm a slave to the income. It's like it's just enough to stay alive, but that's it. So with that being said, if anybody would be interested in supporting me, that would be greatly appreciated. If you have any questions about my condition, you can ask. If you want to pray for me, that's fine. Please don't send me messages saying that God's going to heal me. I've seen those for a very, very, very long time. I'm a firm believer in the faith. I'm well aware of what God is capable of doing according to His riches and glory. So with all that being said, if you guys would be willing to help me out, get to Mayo Clinic, I'm going to put a link in my profile at some point here in hopes that people will help me save up to travel and get surgery. It's gone on way too long. Way too long. It didn't have to last this long, the suffering. And some of you might be asking, what about friends and family? Unfortunately, my mother's side has no family, and my father's side is estranged from us. When my grandfather passed away, the family pretty much fell apart. My grandfather was the glue to the family, so there's no support. It's just my mother helping me, and my father is sort of around, and my brother's out of state trying to do his best. So if anybody would help, I could really use it. And if you can't help financially, pray. And even if you can't help financially, pray, because God can do anything He wants. If He wants to heal me right here, right now, He can, or not. So I'd appreciate some help. Anyway, thanks if you made it this far to the end. Hopefully see you around, and I'll show my hand lettering art here soon if you'd be interested in some t-shirts or something from drawn by me instead of AI and all that fun stuff. God bless. Bye. So I said I was done talking, but I take that back. There's one last thing I'd like to mention about the brain injury. Brothers and sisters, I have to be honest with you guys. It is the most severe condition you could ever experience. It is worse than anything you could ever imagine. It's the reason why I know hell exists. I believed in God to begin with, but I didn't fully understand God. And the moment I developed akathisia, I realized His punishment for hell does exist. And He's willing to let me go through hell on earth, literally a physical hell on earth. Then it's very likely that it does exist indeed. And I can say without a doubt, hell exists because of akathisia. The nerve pain is so agonizing. It makes you scream at the top of your lungs and never being able to sit still. This condition has gone on long enough, and I'm stuck with it because I can't get to Mayo Clinic to get surgery to get my sleep back, to then manage the neurological injury, because sleep deprivation is every time you don't sleep, it's like you have an injury to your brain. So every time, brain injuries make akathisia worse. So if I'm not sleeping, I'm causing an injury to my brain, which is then making the akathisia extremely tormenting, making it way worse than it needs to be. So without surgery, I'm literally just being tormented more than necessary, just simply because I struggled to find help. So I've decided to reach out here on TikTok to see if there's anybody that would be willing to help me save up for Mayo Clinic, even if it's just $5. As if sleep deprivation and compressed arteries and starvation and all these other issues that I can't even explain all in one video, as if that stuff wasn't enough, the doctors had to top it off with ignorantly giving me drugs that I cannot metabolize and injuring my brain, making my life extremely miserable and tormenting, when I could have at least had some sort of peace here at home. But no, instead I've had to endure the worst drug-induced condition on this planet. And I also have tardive dyskinesia. Thankfully I have spaces in between to where I'm not screaming at the top of my lungs, and when I rest, coincidentally, I don't pace around and do all these horrible or don't have all these horrible akathisia side effects as bad. It's not a surprise. Less stress on my brain, more aware and alert and everything else. Anyway, if you guys could please help me, I really do need the help. Yeah. I forgot to add, Mayo Clinic is going to be about roughly $3,000 to $4,000 for the hotel stay, a medical bed rental since I have to sleep sitting up, and I also need a nurse to travel with me because of the akathisia and that I'm just so severely exhausted and sleep deprived I can't travel on my own. And the nurses are close to, if not more, than $1,000 a day. And so I'm going to plan on a 3-day trip to Mayo Clinic with the surgeon, and then hopefully he sees how severe it is and rushes me in for emergency surgery, and we go from there. And if not, I'll fly back home and just figure it out from there. But I have to at least get my foot in the door to get things started. To be honest with you guys, I will indeed lose my life if I do not find a surgeon that is experienced enough to help me with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. This is very serious and very severe, and like I said, if anybody has any questions, just ask and I'll try and do a video response or something, and at some point go over my medical records, describing the conditions that I have.